Is your media
I personally don't.
Yo, I media trained you.
No,
That's controversial.
it's controversial of raping kids. No, I need to.
Really good.
Okay,
It's been a good one. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Oh my! Delete everything. Delete everything. Everything goes. Everything goes. Everything.
That there apparently are texts that show Celeste was furious at David because David had another woman over at his house, and she had threatened to kill him.
What was said in court that was very interesting was that they had gone back and forth. They had had a massive argument, and what was crazy, they had apparently had a back and forth where Celeste was jealous about David's friendships, or more than friendships, potentially with other people, including Asia. Now, there was apparently a message from Celeste that said, "But can you tell me why you want to be friends with Asia?" And David said, "Oh, she's a friend of mine." And then she's basically saying, "Oh, you keep bumping into her. There's no need for friendship with her." She said, "Oh my effing God, I swear to God, I couldn't believe it." They said she was in my seat. I guess she was sat in the seat of the car that Celeste usually sits in. She said, I will strangle you and tell my dad so many lies about you and end your career and do so much damage.
On May 1st, 2026, Celeste Rivas Hernandez's father publicly stated that he had never had any contact with David Burke, but during D4vd's preliminary hearing, newly presented text message evidence painted a much different picture. Investigator Robert Farrell testified that the relationship between David Burke and Celeste was known not only to friends and relatives, but also to Celeste's parents and Burke's mother. After this, investigators focused heavily on the messages exchanged during the final 2 days before Celeste disappeared. On May 1st, 2026, shortly after David Burke was arrested, Celeste Rivas Hernandez's father publicly stated that he had never met Burke and that there had been no contact between his family and the singer. But according to LAPD detective Corey Farrell, investigators recovered between 8,000 and 9,000 text messages exchanged between Burke and Celeste from Burke's iCloud account. The court also heard that Burke attended church with Celeste's family, spent time with them at malls and amusement parks.
Celeste's parents knew about her relationship with David before April 2025. The court also heard testimony that Celeste's aunt and cousin were aware of the relationship. Investigators testified that David even attended church with Celeste's family and had picked her up to go to the mall.
And that Celeste's parents signed a notarized travel consent form allowing Burke to take her to London in September 2024.
Celeste's parents signed a notarized travel consent form allowing David to take her to London in September 2024.
The detective also testified that investigators found evidence showing Celeste attended Coachella and several of Burke's performances while spending time with people inside Burke's own circle. The messages show Celeste grilling D4vd about why he wanted to remain friends with Asia and becoming furious after learning that Asia had been at his Hollywood Hills home. "Oh my God, I swear to God, I'll kill you," Celeste wrote.
She's quoted saying, "Oh my God, my f***ing God, I will kill you, I will f***ing kill you. She was in my seat. I will strangle you to death. I will end your career in life. I will tell my dad."
According to testimony from D4vd's preliminary hearing, she also threatened to strangle D4vd, tell lies to her father about him, mutilate his penis, and end his career and life. The following day, the texts seemed friendlier, revealing D4vd arranging an Uber to bring Celeste to his home. Prosecutors laid out what they described as a critical timeline from the night of April 24, 2025, arguing that Celeste Rivas Hernandez was murdered within 21 minutes of arriving at D4vd's Hollywood Hills rental home, 8:39 p.m. Burke orders an Uber to pick up Rivas Hernandez from her family's home in Elsinore and drive her to his Hollywood Hills residence. 10:10 p.m. According to prosecutors, Burke texts her, "Gate open, door unlocked," as Uber records confirm she arrives at the home. 10:31 to 10:36 p.m. Just 21 minutes after her arrival, Burke allegedly sends a series of unanswered text messages. "Where you at? Hello, and bro, Celeste." Prosecutors argue these messages were staged, noting that Rivas Hernandez never responded and never sent another message from her phone.
You know, David was picking her up in the Uber when she got there, and then David saying, "Hey, where you at? What's going on?" You know, he also said, you know, the gate's open, the door's open, come in. hello, where are you?
11:30 p.m. Cell phone records and GPS data indicate Burke begins driving north towards Santa Barbara. Overnight, Tesla location logs show several programmed stops along the route, including Lake Cachuma and a Tesla supercharger in Santa Ynez, near where investigators later recovered the victim's passport card. Prosecutors contend this timeline demonstrates that Celeste Rivas Hernandez was killed within minutes of entering the residence before David Burke allegedly drove north overnight, making stops at locations they believe are connected to the disposal of evidence. Now, the messages exchanged during the final 2 days were only a small part of what investigators recovered. Detective Corey Farrell testified that investigators recovered between 8,000 and 9,000 text messages from Burke's iCloud account. Among those messages were conversations about pregnancy. Prosecutors showed the text conversation appearing to reveal that Celeste Rivas Hernandez got pregnant with Burke and then went to get an abortion. Burke texts that he is sorry for putting her through this, and then Celeste Rivas Hernandez said, "It's okay, we both weren't able to take care of it." And David asks when she's going to get it done, and he also confirms that the baby is his.
The text messages suggested that Celeste had an abortion performed while she was 13. David saying, "I'm sorry again, baby, I don't want to ever put you through this." Celeste saying, "No, it's okay, don't worry, both of us are not able to take care of it."
Prosecutors also showed a text conversation between Celeste and David depicting plans about her running away from home to be with him. So she was pregnant when she was 13 years old. Their text messages began to discuss sexual relations a little more than a year later, shortly after she had turned 13 and he was 18. They discussed past liaisons, future liaisons. LAPD Detective Corey Farrell testified on the 4th day of Burke's preliminary hearing. They discussed positioning. They discussed their relationship, the future of their relationship, how and when they could meet up. They also discussed contraception and abortions. Hernandez appears to have had at least 2 of them throughout their roughly 2 to 1/2 year relationship. Though they sometimes joked about them, they became a source of shame for her. "I killed my kid for you," she told him over text message in 2024, when she was still 13. "I'd do anything to have it back. Took an innocent life of a literal baby." Their relationship was a passionate one. They discussed often, mostly in positive terms, although a few times Hernandez texted about the causing her pain and leaving her sore. They took numerous photographs of each other naked and performing on each other. Those were not shown in court, but Farrell did describe them for the record. As he did so, Hernandez's mother, who was sitting in the audience, broke down in tears and left the court. At one point, Burke suggested to her that they dip out the country and get married in Italy. In one of the photographs shown in court, she appears to pose with what looks like an engagement ring. The illegality of their relationship presented a constant danger as well as a challenge. In February 2024, Farrell said they discussed moving in together. He planned to pick her up at her house in Lake Elsinore with the help of his bodyguard. They called the plan Operation Awesome. He obsessed over how she would carry all her things, despite her insistence that she really didn't own all that much. "I can't wait to move in TG without the cops. Bitching baby," Burke texted her in June 2024. "You gonna be with me everywhere." Prosecutors also presented messages showing that the relationship wasn't limited to intimate conversations.
Prosecutors also showed a text conversation between Celeste and David depicting plans about her running away from home to be with him.
Celeste Rivas Hernandez and singer David Burke had a plan to move in together, dubbed Operation Awesome, in February 2024. This was a month after Celeste had the abortion. When Celeste texted David that she did not know what to bring, he responded, "We've been over this for weeks. Anything you use that I can't replace immediately you bring. Clothes you like, makeup, jewelry, shoes." David said he would bring 2 duffel bags and later texted he was coming to pick her up in Lake Elsinore. On February 13th, David asked Celeste if she wanted him to hide out somewhere near her house and have his bodyguard bring her to his car, for which Celeste replied, "Oh my god, no, that's so embarrassing, dude." "Baby," he replied, "this is the most important day of your life next to the wedding day and you worried about being embarrassed." In another conversation, Burke wrote, "I can't wait to move in together without the cops bitching, baby. You gonna be with me everywhere." Prosecutors also introduced messages discussing marriage. According to testimony, Burke suggested that they leave the country and get married in Italy. One of the photographs recovered during the investigation allegedly showed Celeste wearing what appeared to be an engagement ring. Investigators argued these conversations showed that the relationship had continued for years and had become increasingly serious. After presenting months of text messages, prosecutors shifted their focus to what they believe happened on the night of April 23, 2025. According to the prosecution, the relationship had reached a breaking point. They argued that Celeste had begun threatening to expose Burke after discovering his relationship with Asia Collins. Prosecutors argued that Burke had far more to lose than than just his reputation. They told the court that exposing the relationship could have destroyed his music career, triggered criminal investigations, and put millions of dollars at risk. During the hearing, jurors also heard evidence about Burke's recording contracts. According to testimony, Burke had signed major label deals worth millions of dollars. One commentator covering the case noted that Burke was reportedly earning around $6 million per album, making him one of the label's most valuable young artists. Prosecutors argued that as Celeste became increasingly frustrated and threatened to expose their relationship, Burke may have believed that everything he had built, his career, public image, and future earnings, was in danger. They argued that after arranging the Uber to bring Celeste to his Hollywood Hills home, Burke attacked her within minutes of her arrival, and all those unanswered text messages sent after 10:30 p.m. were not genuine attempts to find Celeste, but were instead messages intended to create the impression that he did not know where she had gone. Prosecutors also pointed to Tesla location data showing Burke leaving his home later that night and driving toward the Santa Barbara area, where investigators later recovered Celeste's passport card. They argued that when all of the text messages, Uber records, Tesla data, phone records, and digital evidence are viewed together, they form a single timeline that supports their theory of the case. But the defense argued that those same messages told a very different story. Defense attorney Blair Burke told the court that prosecutors had focused on only a small portion of the conversations while leaving out important context. According to the defense, the complete message history showed that Celeste repeatedly asked to see Burke in the days leading up to April 23rd. Messages introduced during cross-examination showed Celeste writing, "Am I able to see you on Thursday at all? There's no possible way I cannot see you this week. We need to talk in person." The defense argued that Burke initially declined several of those requests before eventually agreeing to meet her. Burke also pointed to messages in which Celeste threatened to ruin Burke's life, contact his mother, and expose him to people around him. However, Detective Corey Farrell acknowledged that he did not recall seeing any message in which Celeste specifically threatened to report Burke to police. The defense argued that distinction was important because prosecutors claimed Burke's motive was to prevent Celeste from exposing the relationship and triggering criminal consequences. The defense also emphasized another point. Investigators acknowledged they found no eyewitness who saw Celeste enter the house after getting out of the Uber, no witness to what happened inside the residence, and no surveillance footage showing the events during the roughly 20-minute period between her arrival and Burke's first unanswered text messages. According to the defense, that missing window remains one of the biggest unanswered questions in the case. After hearing 5 days of testimony, reviewing thousands of text messages, digital records, forensic evidence, and arguments from both sides, the decision was left to Judge Charlene Olmedo. The defense asked the court to dismiss every charge, arguing that prosecutors had failed to establish probable cause for murder or any of the 3 special circumstance allegations. Prosecutors disagreed, arguing that while much of the case was circumstantial, the evidence formed a consistent timeline supported by text messages, Uber records, Tesla data, search warrants, forensic evidence, and witness testimony. After considering both sides, Judge Olmedo denied the defense's motion to dismiss. The judge ruled that prosecutors had met the relatively low legal standard required at a preliminary hearing and ordered David Anthony Burke to stand trial on all charges, including all 3 special circumstance allegations. Following the ruling, Burke was scheduled to return to court on August 31st for his arraignment. Prosecutors also confirmed that a jury trial will move forward, although the final trial date has not yet been set. Another question still remains unanswered. Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan Hochman said his office has not yet decided whether it will seek the death penalty against Burke. That decision is expected to be made later as the case continues toward trial.